Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of No Way Jose, starring 12-time IFBB Pro League champion, Arnold Classic champion, one of the founding fathers of the 212 division, all the way from the greatest state in the United States of America, the Bay State, Massachusetts, the Boston Mass, Jose Raymond. What's up, dude?
How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, so we're gearing up for, I think we're going to put this out tomorrow. We're recording on a Thursday. Saturday is our big amateur show. Well, we have two, but do we have the color this year? We did not.
No.
Right? So this is our big amateur show in Massachusetts, the New England Championships, which was your debut back in what, 92, 93?
93, yep.
Wow, you're the teenage winner back then, right?
Yeah, it was huge back then.
Yeah. People don't realize teenagers used to compete in bodybuilding. It's true. We used to have a bunch of them.
Yeah, we had like 10 in my class.
Wow. Yeah, you're not going to see that ever again. But so I had to bring you on because, as you know, Shaun Clarida jumped into the Legion Sports Fest last weekend in Reno, open division, oddly enough, which, I've been waiting and waiting for one of the top guys to do that, like after the Olympia, when it doesn't matter. It's like the Olympia's come and gone. And he wins, and he beats 200, what's Sergio, like 280? Got to be up there somewhere. Regan Grimes, like 260, close to it. A few other guys, big, much taller, much heavier guys. So he now can call himself the giant killer because, he wasn't really killing giants before. It was all, 212 competitors. They were huge, but they weren't like 6 foot and 280. But this topic has come up now. I'm putting my armrest down. Why do we need a 212 division? Do we need a 212 division? Should we get rid of the 212 division? Because somebody like that, somebody like yourself, anyone, Flex Lewis, anyone who's a very, very top tier 212 pro, Lunsford, whatever, could always obviously do very, very well and win a smaller open show and probably place pretty well in the Olympia or the Arnold Classic open division. So I had to come to you because you've done it yourself. You did do that one open show in Arizona, or did you do a couple? I
did two. I did Phoenix and I did the Ferrigno, which is now the Legion.
Right. So when you did it, how did you do, and were you at your best when you did those shows or not?
Definitely close. I did the, and a lot like Shaun, I was actually lighter than I was in the Olympia before it, because they were a few weeks after the Olympia.
Yeah.
And I was continuing to diet and went down even lighter. People are like, yeah, you're on stage in the open, you got to be around 220, right? And I'm like, no, actually I was 203.
Wow.
I was like 207 at the Olympia. And when I did Phoenix, I placed second to Lucas Osladil.
That's right.
And that was very close, very debatable. It could have gone either way. And I wish Tyler was the judge at that show, because Tyler's got a set of balls on him, and he doesn't care. He's the best guy's going to win.
Yeah.
And, I think in my situation, it was more of a like, well, Jose's not going to use the qualification. We don't want to take a qualification against another guy. So, they gave it away. That was a good lineup. I was with Steve Kuklo.
Wow.
And Vitaly Fativ. They were both over 270.
So you beat Kuklo at that show.
Yeah.
Well done.
And that was it was a great show. And I thought I could have had it for sure. But the judging, they judged me high enough that I was in the final call out, and it was close. Yeah. But they just weren't willing to give it to me. And I think it's amazing that Tyler took the bull by the horns and said, the best guy's going to win today. I don't care how tall he is or what division he competes in. That was a great call. That's exactly how it should have been. That was the right call. And I hope they allow Shaun to compete in the open and the 212.
Yeah, we'll get to that, Tyler. So that was the Phoenix show that you did?
Yeah.
What happened? Go ahead. Tell me about the Ferrigno show you did.
Then the Ferrigno was awesome. I was in great shape, but my hip had already started to become a problem. My legs weren't as full blown as they would normally be. Yeah. But I was fourth in that show behind Brandon Curry won, Cedric was second,
Wow.
and Josh Wade was third.
Hmm.
And again, I would make the argument that I should have been put right between Brandon and Cedric, just for entertainment value and see what it looks like.
Yeah.
But instead, I was kind of on the outside with Josh Wade, and Josh was tremendous. He's a big dude in great condition.
Yeah.
But again, you could have made the argument where I could have placed better for sure.
Yeah.
But it was great. What I did prove was that, like Shaun, a shorter guy, a smaller bodybuilder, doesn't make you a lesser bodybuilder. I beat a big lineup of guys there, proved that I belonged in any lineup.
Yeah.
And, that's what it's all about, is testing yourself and seeing where you stand. And that's all I was doing, just kind of like Shaun. He just wanted to see and prove himself that he is amongst the best, period, not the best 212s.
Right. Yeah, because we came up long before there was a 212 or a 202 division. Obviously, that's why you deferred your pro card for so long, because there was no lightweight division. And get back to that. Is it because you were smaller back then? Is that why? I mean, if you had looked, say the way you looked in your second year as a pro or something, if you would look like that as an amateur, would you have taken the pro card regardless of the fact that there was no lightweight division?
Well, my second year as a pro, I was an official heavyweight because I was competing at 200 pounds.
Right.
So I would have won nationals as a heavyweight.
Right, but I'm saying you didn't take your pro card. Correct me if I'm wrong, because you didn't see a future for you as a pro when you were like a welterweight and a middleweight and all this. But once that division came out, it made sense. Here's somewhere where you could really do very, very well, obviously, because you'd be on more of an equal ground with the other competitors. But like I'm saying, if you had been an amateur for a year, well, you would have turned pro pretty quickly anyway. So I shouldn't say years, but would you have taken the pro card sooner if you had that mass that you had, later on as an amateur?
Probably, because I would have been more likely to be competitive. I was really small. I was 153 pounds when I won my first nationals and USAs, and then I moved up to welterweight, and I was still only 164 pounds. And then I moved up to 176, and by then they had developed the 210-pound weight class, which was later 202, which was later 212. So yeah, had I been bigger at 200 pounds, then sure, I would have taken the pro card. And this all will explain my opinion as to the question you're going to ask me.
Yes.
Should there be a 212 division?
Right.
Of course there should.
Okay.
Because there's going to be lightweights and bantamweights and welterweights and even middleweights that will have nowhere to go if they got rid of the 212 class. And then you would lose, I don't know how many. I mean, you would lose 10 pro cards from nationals alone that wouldn't bother to buy a pro card because they're not going to compete. A lot of these guys would not compete, would not even waste their time and money. So from a business standpoint, it's very important that the IFBB keep the 212 division, so they keep those pro cards coming in. And from a competitive standpoint, it's very exciting. It's a great division. Everyone loves it. Seeing the, Lunsford, Kamal, Clarida, it gave us all, something to shoot for. And it gave us a level of professional, stardom. A lot of the 212 guys, you'd never heard of them. You never would have heard of Guy Sistanino if there was no 212 division. You wouldn't have. And he's a great character, and he's a great ambassador for the sport. And without the 212, we never would have had him. We never would have had me. We never would have had a lot of these guys, to the level that you got them. When Flex turned pro, he would have been competing against a top-notch Jay and Dexter and Victor and the tail end of Ronnie Coleman. No, he wouldn't have been the level of Flex Lewis that we have today had there been no 212 division. So, yeah, we need that division for sure. This Shaun Clarida is an outlier. He is a generational talent. He is a guy that can do both. It's not going to happen every weekend. It's not going to be something where you need to worry about it. Well, if you let Shaun compete in both the open and the 212, that's not fair. Then everyone's going to be doing it. Oh, yeah? Good luck. You're not going to see a woman qualify in wellness and in bikini or physique and in figure, and they're going to take 2 spots. It's not going to happen. It's the weird chance. Shaun is the rare athlete that can pull that off and did it. I think they should allow him to compete. He did it fair and square. He qualified in both divisions. Yep. It's not going to be a common occurrence. Every once in a while, you'll have a hottie who's a generational talent, a Flex Lewis or Derek Lunsford could definitely pull it off. But I don't think you're going to see that just because, the only reason Shaun did it was because he didn't win the Olympia. Had he won the Olympia, he wouldn't have done it. Right. And I was pushing Derek to do an open show if he didn't win. Like right away, go do an open show. Derek would have won too, obviously.
I mean, he just beat Shaun 2 weeks before that. So
right. Yeah. I don't think there's going to be enough where they have to make this rule where you got to pick one or the other. If they go in and qualify for the Olympia and then beat out, they end up top 10, top 7, top 6. Yeah. And beat out other guys, that's too bad for the other guys. You should have beat that little 212 guy that sucks, right?
That's the thing. Let me ask you, when you heard Shaun was doing it, I don't know if you knew before, you might have known before, like the general public knew, just because you have a lot of contacts, but did you think he was going to win? As soon as I heard he was in, I'm like, well, he's an Olympia champion. Unless there's like a couple of the top 5 Olympia guys going to the show, I don't see who the hell's beating him. I knew he was going to win. No.
I talked to him. I talked to him and I told him he's going to win. I said, just go be your best. Don't try to be bigger. Don't try to be, I'm like, go show them that you're one of the best on the planet, period. I know what you look like. I know that he looks like an action figure, but when you break it down and you take all of the factors that matter in judging, he checks the most boxes of those guys in that lineup. I don't care if the only way he would have lost was if Sergio was in equal condition to him. And even then it might have been, in order for Sergio to have been in the same condition as Shaun, he might have been a much more slimmed down version of himself. So he wouldn't have been as round as Shaun, as bubbly looking. So there's no real telling. Shaun, I knew he was going to win. I mean, I didn't know the judges would let him win. That was my biggest concern. I was hoping that, they're going to say, oh, he's going to take a qualification from someone. That's why I was so excited about, that decision that they went with it. But I knew he was certainly capable of it. I mean, listen, he's smoking guys that are 30 pounds bigger than him in the 212. Right. So why couldn't he beat guys that are 40, 50, 60, 100 pounds bigger than him?
And he did. Yeah. Well, see, I think the whole reason this argument's coming up, like you said, he's an outlier, he's an anomaly, but I think maybe people are taking the result of one contest and trying to apply it to all future contests, saying, because we've said the 212 division, it's important to have a 212 division. We've talked about this many times because these guys who are shorter and lighter and don't take up as much space, sometimes when you put them next to a bigger guy, they just kind of get lost. Obviously Shaun's got so much pop and round, bubbly muscle. It didn't matter in his case, but why doesn't Hadi beat a Rami? He could say, well, because Rami's just so much taller and wider and just bigger. even though Hadi destroys him on like muscle detailed separation, things like that. But now people are saying, well, I guess that's not true because Clarida just did it. He just beat these guys who are all taller and wider. So maybe maybe it doesn't matter anymore. Maybe we should just have it like the way it used to be, 70s, 80s, 90s, where, guys like, Danny Padilla, Mohammed Benaziza, Lee Priest, several others, didn't matter that they were outweighed and, shorter in stature. They were kicking much, much larger guys' asses consistently. So, but maybe that's only, like you said, these generational. You don't get a Lee Priest every year from the pro ranks. You don't get a Momo Benaziza. You don't get a Danny Padilla. These are the elite. They're once, I don't know about once in a generation, but they're very, very rare. I think you would have always done well. Maybe not in the Olympia or Arnold at the open level, but I think just about any of these second, third tier shows, you would have always been in the mix, I think. So
yeah, I think so too. That's one of my biggest regrets is that I didn't do more open shows. It would have been more fun to say that I was on stage with some of my buddies in the open, get a call out with Evan, with John De La Rosa, some of these guys. It would have been fun. Yeah. I wish I had, but I think when you're referring back to the Olympia, each show is going to be different. You can't compare Hadi and Ramy to Shaun and Regan because it's two totally different situations. Ramy is still unbelievable. He's, the shoulder width on him is unmatched by anyone ever. And his size, and he does have great proportions and symmetry, even though they're, cartoonish. It's and he wasn't in his ultimate best, driest condition. He still had enough wow to, overwhelm Hadi if that's how you're judging it and how you want to judge it. My personal opinion, I would have Hadi win. And now people go in the comments and say, of course you do. You're a 212 guy. You want the 212 guys to win. What do I benefit from that? I don't give a shit. I go with what I think is the most quality physique out there. And, in my eyes, the last 3 shows that I've seen, the only physiques that really stood out to me with that ridiculous quality were Clarida, Derek Lunsford, Hadi, and Nick Walker. They're the only 4 that nailed their condition to the point where they had just madness going on everywhere. Every other person, you could nitpick them in one little way or another. That's not to say they didn't, Ian looked awesome, but I don't think he looked like Nick. I don't think he looked like Hadi. There were plenty of great performances in the last couple of shows, but those 4 are the only ones that stand out to me as Olympia level conditioning. And Ramy's not one of them. That was not Olympia level conditioning. Sorry.
Spam likely.
How do I get rid of this?
You gotta put that robot blocker on or something.
How do you do that?
I don't know.
Oh.
Well, while we're listening to
sorry.
the tune, no, it's no big deal. Yeah, I just got to throw this in, even though it's late, because a lot of the Ramy fans think I hate Ramy. I think I don't like his physique. I'm not a huge fan of the physique, no, but I had him winning that Olympia hands down. Myself and Milos both did. I never said Brandon Curry should win, Hadi should win. I knew based on everything that he had on that stage. Oh, there you go. That he was going to win, but I digress. I just had to throw it in there because no matter, just because we mentioned Ramy, we're going to get some comments in there about it. And I am fully in support of his Olympia win, guys. Don't get it twisted. So that's talking about the Olympia. If you qualify for both the 212 Olympia and the Open Olympia legitimately, which Shaun did with a win, and by placing second at the 212, why can't he do both? I mean, is this a matter for Jim Mannion to decide? Probably.
I don't know that there's actually a rule written in the handbook that they can't.
Go look at your handbook right now. No.
Yeah, I don't have one, unfortunately, but I don't think I don't think that there is one.
Hmm.
Because it's such a rare occurrence.
Yeah. When was the last,
Almost
when was the
never
last time a
happened.
212? Can you recall a 212, a guy who was still competing in the 212 division who won an open show at the same time? Can you recall anything like that?
Well, Hadi's the only one, and he made the decision to go with in the open. And I don't know if they made him make that decision or if it was between him and Hani that made that decision. So I don't know if someone said, "Oh, you have to choose,"
Hmm.
or what. I think no, it's never happened. It's never
Yeah.
happened, and because it's never happened, I don't think it's fair to penalize Shaun. That's something he's going to have to investigate
Yeah.
and ask. Why can't I?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I remember because I keep bringing up David Henry. The first couple years, I think he was
He
winning.
did.
He did. He was
The year he won the 202, I think.
Yeah.
The year he won, he placed 10th in the Open.
Right. Same weekend.
Right.
Yeah,
So why couldn't Shaun?
I mean, he's qualified for both. He legitimately earned it. I don't see why it would be a problem. And like you said, people, no one's going to be like, oh no, there's going to be like a 22-12 guys in the Open Olympic. No, obviously, how many other 212 guys are going to win an open show between now and whenever they cut off the qualification early next September, probably, or late August? I don't think it's going to happen unless, like Lunsford or something. Who else could really do it? Derek comes to mind. This Tony O'Burton kid could maybe do it too, but
I don't see him coming back down to 212.
Yeah, because I liked his look way better. He was only, I don't know what the weight difference was. It was probably only a few pounds, but big difference. He looked so much rounder, fuller.
Yeah, I think you interviewed him, and he had said that he was having trouble making weight for the indie show.
Right. Yeah.
And he's taller. He's got to be 5'8", 5'9", somewhere in there.
We always argue about this.
Yeah, well, he looks tall as hell to me, but he looks short. He looks short in the open stage.
He might be 5'8". Yeah, he might be.
Yeah, but still, that's tall for a 212 if you have any significant muscle.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a common occurrence. I think they should allow it. I don't see where it would be unfair. It's not. If the open guys are worried, they should worry more about beating them than they do about taking a paycheck.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to get back to the judging thing just because I'm so happy to see, and I don't know if it's purely Tyler's influence, but I see a lot of cases now where in the past, when it was close, they would always give it to the guy who wasn't qualified yet for the Olympia. I saw that happen so many times. And,
so I have an example.
Yeah.
A lot of times overseas, we would go to the Olympia, and then the following week, Flex would do Korea.
Right.
And then it would be very close between, me and Flex or Hadi and Flex. And that judge would not have the testicular fortitude to make that call. Yeah. And they just went with, no way, we're not going to take the Olympia winner and place him second a week later. Where I wish they had, I just think, I think if it was Tyler and he got Grandpa's okay, he could make a phone call. Listen, this is what's happening. Yeah. And he said, yeah, do what you think. I trust your opinion. Do what you think is right, and not everyone has that straight line to the boss. True. I think that makes a difference, and he's confident in himself, confident in what he thinks is right, and he did it, and that was awesome.
Yeah, I'm remembering, I think it was like the Arnold Europe where Phil and Kai, it was a week or two after the Olympia, and Kai, most people who were there said Kai smoked him. It wasn't even a question, but they still gave it to Phil. You can go back further to shows where like Flex Wheeler talks about, I think it was maybe the British Grand Prix, a week or two after Ronnie had just beat him, and he was whatever year it was, same thing happened, but there was a history of those post-Olympia shows in Europe where if an Olympia champion who just recently won the Olympia entered, it was a done deal. They win.
Yeah.
And they could basically show up, in a diaper and no tan on, they would still win. So judges seem to have a lot more balls these days, I think.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. That's what should be doing.
All right. So we're going to keep the 212 division, everybody.
Yeah, I hope they do. There's a lot of great guys that we'd be missing out on if that wasn't available.
Yeah. We need the Arnold Classic people. If you're listening, we got to get the 212 back at the Arnold.
I don't know why that ended. I have no idea.
I remember what I was hearing at the time. So it was like, what? They stopped it like 3 or 4 years ago, right? Kamal was the last one to win it, I think.
2018.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah.
I think, and they haven't had it since then. What I was hearing was that they weren't getting enough interest from the top tier 212 guys to make it viable for them. Like only like
That's a joke. That's a joke. You had Kamal, you had myself, you had Ashkenani, David Henry. We all did it every time. Who didn't do it? Flex. That was the only one who didn't do it.
Maybe they wanted Flex. I don't know.
All right, so let's blame it on Flex.
You're not going to get the Olympia champ of the Arnold every year, guys. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen.
Right. So Phil Heath didn't do it every year.
No,
Phil never. And that.
No, once Phil started winning the Olympia, he never went back to. Most of them never do. It's very, very rare. But okay, yeah. I mean, I'd like to see it back there. I'm watching these other divisions. I'm like, really? No 212? Really? Not to put down any of the other divisions, but come on, 212. 212 is bodybuilding and open. That's bodybuilding. Those two are the bodybuilding divisions. That's where the sport comes from, bodybuilding. So for me to see one of those bodybuilding divisions taken away, it's just kind of heartbreaking. So
yeah, I mean, the classic is awesome, and it has been very exciting, and I love that division. But I also love the 212, and I think the fans love the 212 just as much. It's as exciting as any other division, if not more, because your top guys are freaks and condition freaks. And I mean, the top 5 guys in the 212 were in better condition than everyone, period. Than every open guy, aside from Hadi and Nick.
Yeah, because I think any division where you have to get down to a weight, it forces these guys to get into crazy condition. Once you have unlimited weight, it's like, I'm going to come in big and full. And it doesn't always work out well. Before we go, I want to get your thoughts on, I know it's only October, but any up and comers in the 212 you think are going to make a real impact next season? People you got your eye on?
Shaun Clarida.
Well, yeah. Well, let's make that the final point. Say Derek will try to defend his title next year. I don't see him going open anytime very soon. I think eventually he will, but rematch happens. What do you see happening if they both improve from now to then? Who needs to improve more to get that, to win that title or to retain the title?
So it's a weird question, because Derek, in order to improve, will grow out of the class. So does Derek grow this off season and then have to come in flat to make 212? And is that what Shaun needs to edge him out and take his title back? Or does Derek do what Flex did for a couple of years and just kind of tread water for a few months and then get in shape? He can't put on tissue and continue to improve. I'm sure he's not, he might have a pound or two to play with, but I still see Derek needing to let himself grow to be his best. So my answer is yes, Shaun can come back and win. Shaun can come back and beat him. And I think if Derek, Hani is the key thing. Like he does work magic with people. Like he will figure a way to improve him, his chest and shoulders and arms, which is his only weakness. And but it's a big question to me. Can he improve and stay in the 212? or does Shaun put on another 2 pounds and go past him? Only because he's not at his best, which would be at 225 rather than 212.
Yeah. And I mean, Clarida keeps we just had this conversation, me and Shaun, a few days ago, but every time people say he's maxed out, he just keeps putting on another couple pounds anyway. You know, he started out competing at 125 pounds back in the day. And he's like I think he was about 178 at the Olympia, 175 for Legion. So he tightened up for that. With Derek, I don't know if it's size he necessarily needs. What I want to see more of that detail throughout the chest, the shoulders, the arms, certain poses from the front. I just want to see more going on. Like Clarida has all that. He's got crevices and splits and canyons going on. Yeah. I'd love to see that, Derek. Shit, I'd love to see that in Rami. I'd love to see all those cuts in Rami. That'd be like my God, he could win the Olympia for 1,000 years. But
I'm pretty sure Shaun is 10 years older than Derek?
Yeah, right around 10.
9 or 10 years older.
I think it's exactly 10. Yeah.
And that's why you can see it on their physiques. You know, you can see the maturity on Shaun's physique. And I think that FST7 or whatever the hell you want to do isn't going to do it overnight. It's going to take time. It's going to take years in the gym before he has that super freaky look. He'll get there, but I don't know if it's going to happen by next year.
Right. I think Lunsford only started competing, I want to say it was like 2015 at the earliest, but I think it might have been 2016. No, I think it was 2015. And before and he was, he built all that size pretty much right before that. So he has not been training that long. He really hasn't. Versus Shaun's 38. I think he's been training one way or another for probably close to 20 years. So
I remember I went up to Derek at the 2016 USA.
Yeah.
He was a middleweight.
Right.
And he placed second to what's that kid's name? He's a short black kid. He's a 212 guy now with tattoos all over him.
Dwayne Comina? No.
No. Dwayne was a lightweight that year.
Oh.
I forget the kid's name, but he's good.
Yeah.
And Derek placed second, but the way he was posing, he was like locking out his knees, like locking in all his poses. His knees were locked out.
Oh boy.
And I went up to him afterwards. I'm like, you got to relax and just separate your legs more, because they look thinner when you're just locking them like that.
Right.
And but I was very impressed by him, and I was like, you're going to be unbelievable. Like you just got to loosen up a little and pose more efficiently to your physique. And then a year later, he won the overall as a light heavy.
Yeah. Were you at that show in Vegas when he won? Were you there that year?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember, because I went through I was covering the whole, thank God we don't do the national shows anymore. It's just too many guys. I'm sorry. Too many guys.
My boy Jake won the heavyweights. I was there with Jake.
What's Jake's last name?
Jacob Wilson.
Oh, Jacob. You call him Jake. Okay.
Yeah.
What happened
Jake
to him?
won the heavyweight.
I haven't heard of anything from him in a while. He was because he did the Tampa. He did the Tampa the next week too with Lunsford. They both did
he
that.
placed.
Wasn't he second or third?
Third.
Yeah. But
what was it?
Yeah, that was 2017.
Second, I forget.
I think he was, but man, I just remember hundreds and hundreds of. But I think there was a couple hundred bodybuilders in the show, male bodybuilders. And once Lunsford came out, I said, I don't need to see anybody else. This kid's going to win the whole thing. He was just that good.
Yeah, he was.
I said, I don't know who's going to look better than that. They'd have to be like a top pro or something. And that's when he was only 198 pounds. Man, but okay. Well, that's all, man. I knew you would want to keep the division. I want to keep it too. We have to have the clickbait titles, guys, So and that's why I have to tell you all, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification, and you have to also click always get notifications, or else you don't get them all the time, apparently. Yeah, we're trying to get more views, guys. That's what YouTube's all about. So now I want you to go to Jose Raymond's channel called The Boston Mass. Yeah. A lot of great content on there. There's going to be a lot of new content being filmed from Boston soon when his buddy Nate Tello. I say it wrong every time. When is Nate's gym opening up? The new-
Right around Thanksgiving.
Oh, awesome. Dude,
Yeah.
every day. It's Nate Tello, Telow on Facebook. What is it? Is it the same thing on Instagram?
Yep.
Because every day his stories are all the equipment he's buying for this place.
Unbelievable.
Dude,
It'll be the
it's-
best equipped gym in the entire area, Boston, South, North, anywhere.
It'll be
He
like
handpicked everything. You know, we
Dude.
traveled and went to different gyms to try out different pieces, and he hand selected every single piece. So if you want a crazy leg workout, you'll have multiple incredible pieces to, to work with.
Yeah.
It'll be like he and I drive 2 hours down to Fall River to train legs. So he's like, screw that. I'm gonna walk across the street and train them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll put up a picture of the latest piece of equipment he bought. He'll explain like why he bought it and everything and how it feels. He's a nerd. He's a geek with equipment. Just like
He's
me.
such a nerd.
Dude, I could talk equipment with people for hours.
Yeah.
And he gets all the shit he's getting. I'm like, oh, I remember that one. Oh, I can't wait to use that one again. It'll be something I haven't used for like 20 years. I haven't even seen it in any gyms in New England it's stuff I maybe saw like out in California a long, long time ago, and I haven't seen it since. So
Yeah, some gyms will have like one piece.
Yeah.
He has every piece.
Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's going to be on the channel, the Boston Mass. Check that out. Follow Jose on Instagram at THEE. That's 2 E's, the Boston Mass. And of course, thebostonmass.com, the website for coaching services, merchandise, so much more. That's it, man. Appreciate having you as always, Jose. You're the man. Look forward to seeing you at the show in Lynn, Massachusetts, the New England Championships. That's
Prejudging starts at 11 at the Lynn Auditorium.
That's right. I'm psyched it's in Lynn.
You're gonna love this venue. Beautiful place.
Yeah, Jay said you helped pick it out.
Yeah, I went and found the place.
Yeah, dude. I don't want to go to downtown Boston with these parking garages and all that. Screw that. I'm all about
It's free parking right next to the building.
Dude, you can't beat that. Come on.
Yeah.
So hope to see some of you guys from the New England area there. It's going to be a big, big show. I'm seeing updates every day from tons and tons of competitors. So this is going to be a good one, especially because we didn't have the Cutler. I think that's making this show that much more packed than it's stacked. I hate that word, stacked, but stacked than you would normally see. There'll definitely be more than like 2 people per class, guys. Trust me. So
yeah.
All right. See you there. And everybody, thanks for watching. No Way Jose with the Boston Mass Jose Raymond. We'll see you next time.
See you later.